What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Life of a Champ podcast. For today's episode 264, we're going to be discussing you can lose if you don't play. Now, obviously, I'm playing off the saying you can't win if you don't play. But here's the thing what I've realized is you can still lose even if you don't play. And I'll go ahead and get into that in a second. Make sure you go to follow me on Twitch, TikTok, Rumble, Spotify, Twitch, X, all at Life of a Champ podcast, pretty much on every single platform. And we're gonna go get into it, right? So this was a recent observation that I had made, something that I've talked about in previous episodes, but something that that was specifically brought to my attention recently because I was thinking about this, right? I see a lot of men nowadays, they're really not attending some of the status games that they once did, right? And I'll give you a few examples. I want to shout out myself. Right now, I'm on day 15 of 100 of the public speaking challenge. So if you enjoy any of my content and want to see a little bit more of my short form content, I'm posting it here on YouTube, on TikTok, as well as on YouTube. I still have a few more days that I need to post for YouTube and TikTok, but I've been doing everything pretty much very, very accurately on Instagram. So tap in with that for sure. I've been posting on my personal channel or personal account, which is just lifeofachamp._. But getting into it, right? So what I observe is people, there's too often a lot of men in my generation, I can at least say from an observer's point of view, it seems like we don't attend as many status games as we once probably could. And the problem with that is this, right? People feel like in order to win the game that we're playing all together, they would rather to not play at all. And that doesn't necessarily remove the the understanding. That doesn't really remove yourself from playing the game, right? Just because you don't attend the game doesn't mean the game's not going on. And that's the issue. The issue is so many people are kind of removing themselves from the game, thinking that they are just away from the game, right? When in reality, you're not attending the game, you're not playing, and you can't win because you're not actually trying to play the game to the best of your ability. And the way that I look at it is this, man. The people that you want to be like got there and could have only got there by attending these status games. So a few of the status games that I see people refusing to go ahead and play, right? Let's just say the game of trying to court a mate. Some of the most basic, fundamental human games that ever exist, right? A status game that ever existed, right? For you to go ahead and go into the wild and try to go discover a mate. We're talking about the most fundamental thing ever, right? A lot of men are kind of opting out. They're resorting to less than great alternatives, and then they're not even playing the game altogether. They would much rather play a different game, not really a game of status, but a game of let me just go ahead and get my own satisfaction, which is very pathetic in my opinion, and that is good enough for them, right? And for me personally, at least I can speak for myself, that's not good enough. That was never good enough, and that should never be good enough for you. So, with that being said, the question is, what do you do about these people who are, you know, removing themselves from these status games that once were, I'm gonna say, an obvious attendance. And for me, it is to implore people to go ahead and go out and go try new things. Go ahead and go out there and try to find a partner. This is obviously one of the most important decisions you'll ever make in your life. But here's the thing: there's no way you can get closer to finding that person if you're not pursuing any relationships with anyone, right? So I feel like a lot of men, especially in the self improvement space, they have this mindset of, you know what, I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to build a business. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to work on my body. And then I'm going to find a woman. And then I'm going to try to find a woman. But would you fail to realize is just because you've maxed out other stats in life doesn't necessarily mean that you're able to max out the stat of trying to go ahead and court a woman. That's a completely independent stat that I do believe is essential to the full package of self improvement. And if you're removing yourself from this game, it's not something that you can't overcompensate. Let's just say game. Let's just say game, right? We'll just say yeah. You can't overcompensate game in the dating sense for something else like money or something else like looks or something else like whatever, right? So it is a completely independent thing that must be worked on. And if it's not worked on, then it is going to be a shame because it's truly something that needs to be worked on. It's not something that you can supplement. You can't supplement it. Just because you're good at this doesn't mean you're going to be good at this. That's for sure. So, um, And like I said, I want you to pay attention to your own actions. If you see yourself, for whatever reason, having the inclination to play status games where status doesn't matter, or a complete, rather entire removal from trying to participate in a status game, what are you telling yourself? What are you telling everyone else? Right? This is something that I think is absolutely pathetic. And I would say you need to analyze your day to day life to see what are the things, what are the games that you're attending to? Why do you do the things that you do? I spoke about this on a previous episode before. Essentially, what I realized is a lot of people that do the things, they don't do the things that they need to do. That's that's in line with their own personal development, and it is because they don't understand why they do what they do. And what I mean by that is this, right? Let's just say you have um if you're a person that's making mistakes, yet you know you're making mistakes, that's one thing. But if you're a person that's completely naive or unconscious to the fact that you're making mistakes, that's a completely different other scenario, right? And I would like to think that a lot of the reason that a lot of people are in a state of kind of self sabotage, right? And maybe they don't necessarily think of it as, like, let's just say something that's very very conscious. They're not very very overly conscious that they're in this perpetual state of self sabotage, but they find themselves in a position where they're not getting what they want out of life, right? And they're you can't help but to complain about not being in the position that you want to be in, or not making any progress in the things that you value. Um, but here's the thing: if you're not doing anything that's actively contributing to attending the game that you're supposed to go ahead and play, then you can't necessarily get mad at the result, right? You're not attending a game, or you're refusing to attend a game, or you're not playing to the best of your ability. And you're, here's the thing: whatever you put in is what you get out. And I know that's an obvious thing, but for the people who are finding themselves refusing to participate in a game such as dating, it's one of those things that you'll find out how much time you've wasted once you start doing it. And then that's the perspective that I'm trying to get you guys to realize that you want to avoid yourself from. It is worthy for you to spend your time attending these status games. And I'm not saying you need to do everything for status, and without status you're completely nothing. But what I will say, and I'm going to reiterate something that I mentioned a little bit earlier, right? If you're a person that if you observe the people that you want to be like, just purely from an observer's point of view, these people have decided to attend status games. They've decided to dedicate themselves to a craft, to the pursuit of mastery through a status game in some type of way. And then that obviously garners respect, and that is how you even have the recognition for them, that you even want to be potentially even close to like them, right? So if you're removing yourself from that game, how the hell are you going to make progress? And that's why the title of the podcast is "You Can Lose If You Don't Play," because more than likely, if you don't play, you will lose, right? So one of the things that I see as a contributing factor, and I'll give you another example, but the thing that I see that is the alternate, the alternative to this is the great alternatives that are um, a less than great supplement to some of the things and some of the ways in which we go ahead and operate in terms of trying to fulfill a whole, right? See, if you were to work on a problem, the way that I look at it is this, right? Let's just say you have a bag with holes in it and you're trying to fill it up with water, right? Working on a skill is attempting to get a new bag, right? But if you're not necessarily even, trying to work on the skill, I feel like you're kind of just you're giving yourself the illusion that it is okay to lose a little bit of water because you placed a band-aid on a hole on a bag, and it is slowly, maybe it's not dripping out as much as it would, but let's just say it's going a little bit slower, but you're still losing water in the bag. You're telling yourself that's good enough when in reality you should just be getting a whole new bag, right? And that is kind of the way in which I see. I know that's kind of a weird analogy, but when people are resorting to less than great alternatives, so let's just say, for example, when it comes to dating, right? The alternative to dating, and I think people need to understand this, and they don't understand this thoroughly enough. If you're not dating women, you are fucking your hand more than likely. And I hate to get that vulgar, but that's exactly what it is. You need to understand what you're doing and why the hell you're even doing what you're doing. If you're not fucking women, odds is you're not somebody that is just voluntarily celibate. That's a very very rare thing, okay? It's either you're fucking women or you're fucking your hand. There's nowhere in between. So pick one of those, unless you're the very rare individual, which I've been this individual for an extended period of time. I talked about it in my podcast before, where you can be voluntarily celibate, where you can get sex if you want, but you're deciding not to. That is completely okay. If you can actually tame your own inner beast of lust, right? If you could tame the beast of lust and refuse porn altogether, fantastic. Go ahead and do that and be that. In my opinion, I don't think it. You can go a while, but here's the thing: you're still missing out. You're not attending the game. Maybe you're playing a different game for a different status, but you're not attending the game that is truly worthwhile, that is truly fully um, the most fruitful, which is obviously finding women, of course, finding a partner, right? Things like that. So people are giving themselves these less than great alternatives, thinking that it is completely okay, thinking that they can go through life and it not really show up anywhere else, right? I'm going to tell you right now, the person that has a woman like me and the person that doesn't have a woman potentially like you, I'm going to walk into the world with a lot more confidence than you are. Automatically. If you're a person that is, giving yourself all these types of self pleasure, and me and you walk into a room, just know I'm more than likely going to be more confident than you are. It's very, very rare that you can be the person that you want to be fully and be a person that still has the vice of trying to beat your meat. Simple as that. So you got to be honest with yourself when it comes to that. Is that how you want to show up in public interactions? And I'm not saying that's going to be completely blatantly obvious that you do it, but I'm going to say you that could have been if you just either had sex with women or found a woman for yourself or even ridded yourself completely from the beast of lust, kind of, by not beating your meat at all. The type of person that you would be compared to the person that's just in a crippling addiction and can't stop beating their meat like a little monkey. um, you're going to show up differently in the world, right? So you think that you're getting over something because you don't want to go through the trials and tribulations of, you know, going up and potentially getting rejected, going up and people and women telling you, "Hey, you're not as good as you could be." Essentially, that's kind of what they would tell you if they reject you, right? Or, you figuring out your own problems. Maybe everything goes good with the woman, but you realize that you're lacking something. Maybe you're insecure. Maybe you don't trust her, or maybe whatever, right? And these are all things that can be attributed back to you, right? But here's the thing: you won't know that if you don't go out there and try to go figure it out. But here's the thing that people are doing is they're delaying this process. They're thinking that they can just go ahead and develop other aspects of their life, thinking that it's just going to be completely okay. And like I said, it just doesn't supplement for the real thing. It doesn't supplement for the actual experience in the intended pursuit. So I'll give you another example, right? And I know people won't like this, but I keep talking about this because I'm truly a big believer of this. Another supplement that somebody gives themselves in this example, let's just say it's video games, right? Essentially, what you're trying to do, what you're giving yourself the illusion of, is making progress, is trying to build something towards status in a weird way, right? And like I had mentioned, this goes back to the concept that I was speaking about earlier, right? Why are you doing what you're doing? Why do you have the inclination to do what you do if it's less than great, if it's less than an ideal scenario, right? What you're seeking, what you're seeking in video games is status. What you're seeking in video games is progression. What you're seeking in video games is the visual representation of getting better at something, the instant gratification of progressing in something. That's what you're after. That's what you want. And you want that in your own life. But maybe it's not as easy, or maybe it doesn't come as easy as it could in a video game, right? So that is why you resort to playing a video game, because there's the instant gratification to understand whether you're getting better or whether you're getting worse. And in life, you don't get that exact immediate result, and that's too much for some people, so they go ahead and resort to video games, right? Me personally, I think that's just lame behavior, right? There's very, very few exceptions that I'll make where it isn't lame behavior. If you're making money and you're able to build a lot of status off of this, then go ahead and do it. If you have an audience, then that's one thing, right? But if you don't, and you're playing just for your own self satisfaction, I'm not saying you need to rid yourself from everything that is pleasurable. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm not trying to say that and come on here and say, you know what, I don't have any vices myself. What I'm saying is, you need to understand what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing. And is that a worthy vice in your opinion? And if it is, then completely fine. But just know that what you're actually after isn't something that you actually can get from that video game. And you're simply looking for that in the video game, even though you should be actually looking for that in real life. But you don't have it in real life. Simple as that. So people give themselves these less than great alternatives, thinking that they actually enjoy doing what they do. But the honest reality is there is something deeper that is nothing more than just a symptom of a bigger problem. You resorting to that or you having that inclination to go towards that, right? It is nothing more than a symptom of something that is much bigger. There's a bigger issue to resolve. There's a bigger fish to fry. There's more purpose that is being left on the table. And you're simply just letting it be, right? You must understand that people are trading their real fucking lives for something that isn't even fucking real. For an interaction with your hand, for an intimate interaction by yourself in a dark room with a little lit screen. People are trading their real lives to attend a fake game that doesn't even exist in reality. They're trading their real life to try to get better in a video game when they could be out here in the real world getting better in real life, and people can actually validate you for getting better in real life. But instead, you want to talk to your buddies and just chat on the game chat and say, just talk a bunch of shit. When in reality, that doesn't do anything. You're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything with it. How fucking pathetic is that? And like I said, I don't care if it ruffles feathers, because this is the honest truth, right? Whether you would like to admit it or not, whether you want to face that reality or not, I'm here to give you the mirror. It's as simple as that. So ask yourself the question: how many of these things that I'm doing on a daily basis are participating in status games, right? So me, for example, let's just say I'm a person that is not on the pursuit of building a personal brand. That is the one of the most ultimate status markers in today's society. If you have clout, right? Um, in my opinion, if you're creative, right? I'm a person that creates. I'm a person that tries to inspire people. I'm a person that is on the pursuit of their own purpose, right? And with that being said, those are all attributes of trying to attain and trying to play status games, right? And I go to the gym, that's another status game of attraction, that's another status game of, you know, of health. There's a lot of let's just say keystone habits that are attending multiple different status games that do exist, right? Keystone games, essentially, right? That you can play, right? That are going to trickle out to many different things and attend many different status games, right? But if you're a person that, let's just say you see yourself attending a lot more of these fake games, right? Why does it matter? Or maybe you see yourself completely removing yourself entirely from certain status games. You're refusing reality. You must ask the question, why? And here's the thing. What I will say is this, right? I respect the person that is putting aside all of the fake games, all of the supplementary status games, right? For a person that's at the very, very bottom of every single status game. If you're a person that is constantly working, truly putting in the work, and you're attending status games, and you're at the very, very bottom, I respect you more than the person that maybe has one or two um, things maxed out, but let's just say they're still attending fake status games. For me personally, I respect the person that's put aside and understands exactly what they're doing when they're doing it, and says, you know what, I'm better than that. My life is worth more than that, truly. And then decides to actually attend real status games. Even if you're at the bottom, at least you're on the pursuit of something. At least you can eventually attain something worth actually having, instead of attending something that just feels good or is just fun. Like, are you a grown ass man, or are you a little boy? You're doing things because they're fun. Are you a boy? I thought you were a man watching this. So it's as simple as that, man. Analyze your own behavior, analyze your own habits, analyze the things that you're drawn into, and why are you drawn into those things. And more importantly, I want you to ask yourself this question: who the hell convinced you that opting out of these games of status are actually worth it? Who did this? Who's responsible for this, right? And maybe it's society, which then you must, check your input, which is essentially all the things in which you consume and all the things in which you see. Maybe it's the friends that you have that is perpetually, keeping you in the same position or attaching you to certain habits. Maybe it's yourself that is constantly having this weird ass interest in something that doesn't matter. Which, like I said, you need to rethink. You need to rethink a few things in your life at the very least. And you start to begin to ask the question of who the hell got you in this position? Who the hell convinced you that playing fake games are better than actually playing the real game of life? You have one life, and people are spending it playing a fake life. Like, is that not insane to think about? Is that not absolutely insane to think about? Who convinced your mind to believe that opting out of these status games that have always existed, that will always remain relevant, they convince you that playing these games aren't even worth it? And it's more worth it to attend a different false status game. And the thing is, people don't even question any of that, and then they wonder why their life fucking sucks. And it's as simple as that, bro. Your life sucks because you're attending games that have no actual meaning in real life. They don't actually mean shit. And at the end of the day, what you can do, yeah, I must ask yourself your question, right? What can you do? And I'm gonna say this, right? I truly believe that all the work or all the answers and results that you're looking for are found in the work that you're avoiding and putting off, right? We all have skeletons in the closet. We all have things that we're not willing to face with the most amount of courage. We all have things that we're procrastinating. We all have areas of life that we need to work on that we're always neglecting. We're always trying to put that last, even though that's at the top of mind, even though we're feeling guilty for that, right? But what you must understand, action is the antidote to life's chaos, and procrastination is the poison that too many people take, obviously. And like I said, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I do everything right. I'm not saying I have all my ducks in order. But what I will say is I observe a lot more people aren't in my position than are in my position. So that's what I have to say. So dedicate yourself to something. Be willing to remove certain things. And I would like to think, and this makes sense to me, and I've made more progress in my life removing bad habits than I have instilling good habits. So if you're going to remove any habit, replace it with something good, first of all. Don't just remove it and don't do anything with it, because then you're just going to resort to another bad habit. But be honest with yourself. Remove some habits that you know are bad, that aren't serving you, that aren't attending any status games worthy. And then like I said, start taking action, start asking yourself questions that, that are truly honorable. And here's what I want to say, bro. I was talking about this with my boy Anthony the other day, right? There's certain things in this life where you talk about them, and you can talk about them with a certain type of confidence, with a certain type of, I'm not even going to say pride, but with a certain type of energy that is truly good, that is truly not insecure, that is truly a strong presence. And then there's other things in life where when you admit it, when you tell somebody that, you don't seem as enthusiastic. You don't seem as proud of your own actions. Jaden said, I think it starts with believing that you deserve better, that life can be better than this. Exactly. That is exactly the truth. So you must have that belief. You must have that belief for damn sure. Because if you don't, then of course you're going to be, existing within the miserable existence of, a potentiality, but not really putting any action or any real thought into what you're doing. That's for damn sure. I can't remember where I was, but essentially, attend the games that are worth attending. Stop attending the games that are truly not worth any of your time, because it just doesn't make that much sense. And in a world where people are playing too many of these fake games, be a person that's actually attending real life, that actually wants to make improvements to your life, that is actually somebody that understands that, they want to suffer, and if, everyone's going to suffer in this life, but you want to suffer nobly. Because if you're not suffering nobly, then you're just suffering, right? And the thing about it is this, right? You can suffer from playing the games that are not as good. And maybe you just tell yourself that it's better, then life is better than what it actually is, but it's truly not, right? You must understand that meaningful suffering, noble suffering is out there. That is what I pursue, right? So, like I mentioned, I'm building a personal brand. It's not particularly easy in today's society. It's easier than ever, but it's not an easy thing, right? But I'd rather endure that type of suffering than to suffer from fucking losing in a video game and me getting pissed off and chimping out over a damn video game. Like, be fucking for real right now, man. Like, there's worthy there's worthy other ways of suffering that is truly worth your time, that is truly worth your attention, that is truly worth your action, and truly worth your intention. That is way more purposeful and that is way more fulfilling. But if you're not able to declare that for yourself, then of course you're going to be in the position in life that you're in, where you could be more than what you are, and you're feeling guilty for not being as much as you could be. That's the honest truth. So choose choose noble suffering. Don't attend this self sabotage. Don't attend Yeah, don't attend self sabotage. And the worst thing that the worst thing that you could really observe in this life is wasted time. You don't want to be in the position where you feel like you truly wasted time. And like I'd mentioned, then you're looking back thinking, imagine what I could have been if I just took Champ's advice. Imagine what I could have been if I just cut off my bad habits. You never want to be in that position, bro. I'll tell you that right now. But other than that, that's all I have to say for today's episode. This was episode 264 of the Life of a Champ podcast, talking about you can lose if you don't play. So make sure you're out here playing games worthy of playing. Make sure you're out here playing to win. Make sure you're not out here playing to not lose. That's for damn sure. That's all I have to say. Tap with the next podcast that I'm going to be doing on Thursday. Also, make sure you go ahead and leave a like and watch some of the videos that I've been posting in short form. I'm spending a lot of my time nowadays really dedicating a lot of my mental focus, a lot of my brain power into trying to create content for short form. And I don't want to neglect the long form because I absolutely love long form. I've made 264 podcasts for crying out loud, right? But I do understand that growing on long form content is much harder than growing in short form content. And I'm going to take the people that I get from short form content and bring them over here. I do believe this is where the actual great conversations are had. I like to attend the games of long form content, of trying to actually internalize some of the things that I find of interest. So I'm trying to get people over here for damn sure. I deserve a better and bigger audience. That's for damn sure. So I'm looking forward to that in terms of building towards that for sure. So like I said, follow me on TikTok, follow me on X, or not follow me on X. Follow me on TikTok, follow me on Instagram as well. Like I said, at lifeofachamp_. That is my personal account. And like I said, I'm just gonna be posting a lot more. I'm posting every single day. I've attended a 100-day challenge, and I'm not stopping any day. So tap in with that for sure. And other than that, like I said, I might go live later tonight. We'll see. We'll see if an artist drops. We'll see. Y'all have a good night. Tap with the next podcast on Thursday. And like I said, fellas, make sure you're playing to win, man. That's all that matters.